Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company. We're a group of old friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Tom and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of this group of extras from the movie 28 Days Later. Group of extras from the movie 28 Days Later, please introduce yourselves and tell the audience one fun fact about your characters.
28 Days Later is a very recent cultural reference by our standards, isn't it? It's been more than 20 years.
Apologies for just missing out on the 90s.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm playing Augustus Zeno, and my fact this week, to counterbalance the horror of last week's crucifixion fact, is quite simple. Augustus loves fruit, but he despises apricots.
Is this distaste for apricots a recent thing, or has that always been the case for Augustus?
Well, I was really...
I feel like it's a recent thing, isn't it?
Well, no, I was really inspired by your idea of living outside yourself, and in real life, I really like apricots. Like, I really like them.
No, you don't.
I do. Dried apricots are just absolutely delicious. And so I thought, how could I live totally outside myself? And I could be someone who doesn't like apricots. And that is a world gone topsy-turvy.
It's a world inhabited by everyone else.
How are you finding it?
I'm finding it disconcerting. It's strange.
Yeah.
I mean, is it wrong that I prefer fictional you to real you?
Is this about the apricots or does this go deeper?
No comment.
I know you love lore.
Lore. Nothing I love more than lore. You'll have to create that character now.
Well, living in the actual them there West Country, it's the most obvious accent for me to do.
Oh God, my brain is completely mulched by that. Okay. Hi, I'm Charlie. I play Vander Finnick. And my fun fact this week relates to something not quite as grim, I hope, as usual. Vander awakes with a smile on his broken face. For last night, he had a dream which carried him back to happier times. He saw again the adored wooden horse that he had as his childhood companion. He watched it prance, champ, and affectionately nuzzle the hand of someone he hasn't thought of in years. Torin Goldstone, a childhood friend and fellow noble who shared his dreams of becoming a soldier one day. The dream took an unexpected turn, though, revealing a scene that has haunted Vander's waking thoughts for years. It betrayed the day he saw Morticia, the love of his life, joyfully laughing with nobles, including Torin. At that moment, Vander, now a fractured thing, observed this merriment from behind a rain-soaked window pane, feeling his old life falling away to be replaced by something altogether darker. In the dream, however, the wooden horse stood beside Torin and rested its head on his shoulder. Perhaps Torin was more than just another suitor for Morticia's affections in Vander's absence. Perhaps Torin remained a genuine friend to the end. And maybe the past is not as it seemed. Vander's crooked mouth smiles as he wakes from this dream, which may have revealed something about Torin and about the enduring power of the friendship forged by two little boys.
Oh, how totally cute. It veered wildly, didn't it? You said it was going to be nice, and then it felt like it was going to be like a revenge fantasy. Then it was even dark. It was like, oh, Vander's usually dark, but this is even darker. And then it came back and it was quite nice. So yeah, a bittersweet, I'd say, Vander's lighter moments. And also, unfortunately, his present casts a shadow, doesn't it, over his past? Like the little gambling child is a little bit like looking at Tiny Tim when there's just going to be an abandoned crutch in the corner.
That's exactly what I was aiming for. All of the above.
Perfect. Dickensian nightmare.
Absolutely.
I think Tiny Tim in this world is called Weenie Todd, is he not? Have we not already established that?
That is lore. Lore.
Lore.
Hello, I'm Dave and I play Bennie. My fact today is also dream-based. Regular viewers who don't exist, but regular listeners may recall Bennie has a recurring dream about finding a hidden room in the orphanage where he grew up. But in recent weeks, since the reckoning, the dream has changed somewhat. Now, as Bennie discovers the hidden room in the orphanage, he hears a noise behind him and spins around, and in the corridor he can see a figure, but the figure is backlit, so he can't tell who it is. And he calls out asking who it is. And just like in the night of that reckoning, the voice replies, "You don't recognize me, but you will." And Bennie wakes up with a start.
So, what is it about being in a cave pursued by the undead that makes everyone have really, really vivid dreams?
Vander's dreams were nice dreams.
And yet very vivid. Definitely memorable.
Also, is it possible that somewhere Bennie's dreams disrespected Bennie? And that's triggered him.
That was really good. So does Bennie have any idea who this person is at all? I know you said you can recognize him, but I wondered whether Bennie has like an inkling.
On the grounds that I don't have a clue, I'm going to say Bennie doesn't have any idea either.
I do like the idea that the characters might now know things that the players don't. Like they're going to take over from us.
Someone accused us of being the case on the social, didn't they? That our characters were writing the stories rather than the players. So not accused, that's the wrong word. But someone mentioned that on one of our social medias.
We are literally incapable of praise.
Someone was like, "Are the characters writing their own stories?" I was like, well, you could say that.
Hi, I'm Harry, and I'm playing Tok, a imposing 6'8" automaton.
Okay, stop right there. Okay, we can't go any further. I'm sorry. Every time you tell the listeners how to feel by telling us that Tok is imposing, you get away with it episode after episode, and I'm calling it out.
Maybe he means he's literally uninvited. You know, like when people say, "I don't want to impose," but he's just he is. It's like he's sleeping on our sofa, but we haven't said it's okay.
Okay, I'm going to withdraw the comment based on that possible interpretation.
He is living rent-free in Charlie's head.
That's a fact. That's canon.
I tell you, the number of times I thought about jumping in about that.
Catchphrase now, isn't it?
You can't make your own catchphrases.
I mean, he's literally done it non-stop since the podcast began.
Tok likes our new orc allies. They're friendly, competent. They dislike the Empire, but especially they're in favour of keeping pets. But he's slightly worried about their animosity towards elves. So the Elastari were friends to Tick, and they're very kind to Tok when he was younger. They appreciate nature, and their forest, Thanasil, was very peaceful and sort of like a paradise. So Tok can't think why anybody would dislike them. The only one elf that he's ever met that was different was named Roskill on the Steamrunner. And he was not like the others. Despite also opposing the Empire, he was unpleasant, arrogant, and overly murderous. Maybe the orcs have only met the elf Roskill and believe all Elastari to be just like him.
Okay, well, firstly, I'm going to have to acknowledge that you got a lot of appreciative nods from the DM there. There was a lot of excellent connections of lore.
Nailed it. Lore.
Yeah.
So it's got to score high for those things. I have to say, I didn't pick up that the orcs really hated elves. Is that just a known? Was that obviously in the last episode and I just missed that?
Yeah, it's just a passive perception thing. You know, it's if the player can really, pick up on what the DM's saying.
He literally just said it, right?
Yeah.
Did you actually just say it?
He said the Elastari, which I must admit, until Harry just said elves, I didn't realise what that meant. But he did say we don't like the Elastari.
Ah, okay.
And then he called them Vashtiks, which is an orcish insult.
Oh no, I missed Vashtiks. What an obvious phrase.
I mean, you could have asked.
I should have asked, to be fair. And I've just realised that these aren't compliments. So,
wait a second, these are criticism.
I thought we were talking as friends, but now I see that's not true.
Beautiful stuff. And on to Lothar Janeth's Palace of Lies we go in this chapter of Dice Company. Previously on Dice Company, you guys entered the vault in the abandoned Dark Bank only to meet Axel Grunholm, an orc centurion leading a small group known as the 13th Company, members of the larger 9th Legion of the Army of Crimson Reach. Having successfully parlayed, both groups identified potential common ground and set off to the Northern Drift mining area, home to the potentially dangerous drow Lothar Janeth. Having carefully negotiated the Umberhawk tunnels for days, you made camp beneath the entrance to the palace, allowing the 13th Company to scout the area and to give you all a couple of days' rest. How have you spent those 2 days?
So Tok has spent time with his herbalism kit and alchemist supplies. He's been brewing a couple of healing potions back at the camp, so he hasn't been out to observe the Palace of Lies.
Augustus has been scribbling on a piece of paper, crossing it out, scribbling again, screwing up pieces of paper, throwing the pieces of paper into the fire, scribbling again. He's clearly working on something, but he can't quite get the words right.
Bennie has been doing 3 main things. Firstly, enjoying the company of the orcs, having a nice time with some new people and just having some general chats. Secondly, he's been taking himself off to quiet corners so that he can inhabit Missy and fly around as far as he is able, looking for Lenny, but sadly to no avail so far. And thirdly, when he's had a few quiet moments, he has been again taking himself off to a corner and just sitting quietly in a way that a casual observer may take for meditation.
Can I have a charisma check, please, and a perception check?
Charisma, 15. Perception, 20.
Thank you very much.
Vander has been spending the last couple of days observing the palace, looking at it from different angles and sitting, just regarding it, scanning it with his singular eye.
Give me a perception check, please, Vander.
As it's been 2 days of scannery, can I have that added advantage?
My God, someone actually asking for advantage.
Is that how that works?
Traditionally, yeah, actually. I'm going to allow it. Why not?
Amazing.
Don't ask again, ever.
That is a 24.
Vander, as you study the exterior of the palace for 2 days, amidst the natural ruggedness, a subtle irregularity catches your eye. Weathered by time, the stone facade bears the faint outline of a hidden passage, seamlessly blending with the surrounding rocky terrain. A closer inspection reveals a cunningly concealed lever.
Fascinating. With that, Vander's going to painfully rise to his feet, and satisfied he has now found the thing he was looking for, he makes his way back towards the group.
When you arrive there, Bennie is sat in a corner with his eyes pure milky white. Bennie, you have inhabited Missy, who is currently circling overhead. As she swoops around near the entrance to the palace, you notice in a rocky outcrop just outside of the drawbridge is Lenny the dog.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, I immediately come back into Bennie and I say, right, I've just spotted Lenny. I've got to go. And as stealthily, but as quickly as I can, I head out towards where I spotted Bennie, the plan being to pick him up unnoticed and return to camp without anyone ever seeing me.
Bennie, wait. Where did you see Lenny?
Just over by that outcrop.
Is that in sight of the palace? Will that take him?
It will. He will need to do a stealth check in order to go unnoticed.
Vander looks at Bennie and, realizing that this is something he has to do, says, I understand. I will inform the rest of the group, and lets Bennie slip away.
Now it's a 10 for stealth because I am rushing.
Oh God, he's searching for a special dice. This can't be good.
Moving quickly and quietly with his hood up across the front of the palace, Bennie, you make your way over to the rocky outcrop where you saw Lenny the dog through Missy's eyes. And there he is, playfully running and skipping, and upon seeing you, he runs up to you and leaps into your arms and begins to lick your face.
I pick him up, give him a quick cuddle and a bit of a stroke. I have a very quick look at him to see if there's something weird going on, noticeably.
Give me an investigation check.
That is a 16.
He seems exactly as you remember him.
And then I tuck him under my arm and make my way as quickly as possible back to camp, as stealthily as possible as well.
Let's have another stealth check.
That is a natural 20 for 26 total.
The person watching Bennie starts to doubt whether he himself is here.
Like a whisper of wind, Bennie, with Lenny tucked under his arm, returns to the group. The rest of you don't actually see Bennie returning.
Vander's telling us that Bennie's gone off like stealthily. Tok will reply to Vander, does Bennie need assistance with his stealthy endeavor?
No, I'm all right, thanks.
But Bennie, Vander informed us you had left.
Vander turns to look at Bennie and simply says, I see.
Yeah, I left and I'll come back. And look who I've got! Look who it is!
Ah, Lenny the dog. And Vander comes over to look at Lenny, still very perplexed as to how he could possibly be here.
Does he look like he's not eaten for a long time?
No, he looks fine. He looks exactly as he was when you last saw him.
There's blood dripping down his fangs.
Vander, is there a specific thing you're trying to ascertain about him?
Yes, I'm interested in there being any magical properties here.
Okay, give me an Arcana check.
That's a 14.
There don't appear to be any, untoward magical effects or anything like that, as far as you can tell. He just appears to be a dog.
A most curious chain of events, Lenny.
Augustus looks up from his mad scribbling and just goes, ugh, and then carries on scribbling.
Oh, I've got an idea. And I click my fingers.
And with a... he disappears.
That would suggest that it's really Lenny, wouldn't it?
Indeed, it might also be the wisest thing to make sure Lenny is not able to move around on his own free will at this point in time. Many questions to be answered there, I feel.
I don't know who by, but yeah, you've got a point. Let's leave him in bag for now. Vander, you seem to be looking for something yourself.
I was interested by the palace and how we might make our entrance, so to speak. With that in mind, I wondered if I could have a conversation with everyone gathered together. And with that, Vander gestures for the orcs and for our party to gather.
The orcs join.
I have surveyed the palace for 2 days now, and it seems possible to me there is a secret way in. At the base of one of the walls, I observed a lever and potentially a passage. May I make the suggestion that we aim to make use of this passage and steal into the palace unobserved?
I would find this to be acceptable.
Axel Ronholm, who's been listening carefully, says, I think it would make tactical sense if we split the party.
Split the party? Where would you take your orcs?
Straight to the front door.
You aim to storm the palace, then?
In a manner of speaking, it would increase our chances as well. 2 parties attempting to attack from different angles increases the chance of success twofold, no?
Vander considers, then says, Then I wish you luck, and turns to the party. I assume we are more predisposed to the stealthier entrance, gentlemen.
Indeed, we should attempt stealth.
I'm already filled with a confidence one rarely feels at the beginning of a plan, says Vander, feeling none of that. I suggest we head on in front of our orc friends, as I suspect they will make much noise in their encounters.
Augustus got a thing called Inspiring Leader, so I can spend 10 minutes inspiring my companions with a speech, and that's going to give them temporary hit points. So I just have to do a speech, I think. So Augustus beckons to the orc and the party to gather, and he stands up on a soapbox, and he says, Friends, comrades, automatons, we stand on the precipice of history. Beneath our feet, the sands of time, the olive branch, the haunting song of mixed metaphors. From here, the only way is up, or forward, or both. We must stand now, or march, or face annihilation. Together we do something truly memorable, though none may live to remember it.
9 minutes later.
And as I was saying in a section of this speech relating to the mating habits of the banded mongoose, sometimes many must suffer for the good of the few. So come with me now. Let us throw ourselves into mild to moderate peril in the certain knowledge that, should we fail, no one will know or care.
Vander turns to Bennie, who sees that there's a tear rolling down from Vander's one eye. My God, that was beautiful.
You know, Vander, it's a weird thing. I tuned him out after about 5 words, but I still feel really good, really pumped up. I don't understand it at all.
Surely you didn't miss the part about the mongoose.
What now?
Well, I dare not repeat it. It was too inspiring.
As the banded mongoose, we march.
And away we go.
13th Company, take arms.
We attack now.
Just before you leave, Shay, one of the orcs, approaches Augustus.
All right, that were pretty inspiring. You certainly managed to get the Centurion all riled up. Now listen, if you happen to come across Jack in your travels, he is a competent fighter. He's a little bit eccentric, and he doesn't recognize you, maybe a bit problematic. So if you do find him and can release him, give him this to show him that you're friends.
And he reaches into his plate armor and he pulls out a rough-looking piece of purple material, and he kind of flicks it, and a top hat appears, and he hands it to you, Augustus.
Understood. Should I encounter your brother, I shall certainly give him this straight away as a token of our friendship.
Thank you, and good luck.
Same to you, my good friend.
Rather strange token for an orc, one might think, Vander says while looking at the top hat.
Are you sure, Vander? They do possess heads.
Ah, yes, how silly of me. Thank you, Tok. As ever, a wonderful corrector of things otherwise missed. Speaking of missing things, I can't help but feel it would be to our advantage to beat our Orcan friends to the door, as they will, of course, not be taking care to be as stealthy as we plan to be.
I would find that to be acceptable. I shall enter the bag.
Just give me 1 sec. I'll be 1 second, and just kind of ducks around a little corner behind some rocks, and just looks around, clicks his fingers. Lenny comes out, and he's like, "Who's in the boy? Who's the best boy? Who is it? Is it you? You're the best boy. Yeah, hello, Lenny. So good to see you again." And then back in the bag. Right, ready to go.
Reception checks for the others, please.
Tok gets a natural 20 for a 22 there.
Vander scores a 23.
A natural 20 for Augustus as well for 21. We percept everything.
I mean, you've saved your excellent roll. It's a really critical moment. I mean,
Benny, would you like to attempt a stealth check to try and avoid them?
yes, I would.
I thought you might.
Hopefully, I'll get a natural 22. 21 for stealth.
Oh, is this just to find out whether we see him petting the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wasted some real good rolls.
Vander and Tok, you both notice the little display of affection.
Right, I'm glad Augustus failed that one.
So before he gets in the bag, before Tok and Tick get in the bag, Tok is going to take from his alchemist supplies 2 small healing potions. And he's going to pass one to Bennie and one to Vander.
Thank you, Tok, Vander says, taking the vial and concealing it in his robes.
Add healing potion to your inventories, please, Benny and Vander.
If I've understood the inspiring speech correctly, everyone should be adding 10 hit points as well, because it's my level, which is 4, and my charisma modifier, which is 6.
Very good. Like it. Love everything about it. That's
What a paladin.
genuinely, what a paladin. Tok, would you like to describe yourself getting in the bag?
I mean, he's not doing the weird elevator thing, but Tok will kind of just open the bag and then put a leg in and sort of it's like someone trying to move a small hula hoop over their body, one sort of limb at a time, and he'll sort of just fold himself up into it, and then Tick will do the same.
And having watched these 6'8" imposing automatons clamber into the bag then falls to the floor, looking like it's got nothing in it. Who is taking the bag of holding?
I will.
But Benny scoops up the bag.
As Vander begins heading down, he realizes that stealth mode is needed, so he flips his cane around and wraps a small piece of cloth on the point so it doesn't click on the ground.
I like that so much I'm going to ignore the stealth mode comment, which is just awful.
As Bennie is holding the bag, by the way, you'll see Tok's head just poke out slightly from the bag, and he'll say, Augustus, attempt to make minimal noise. You are now guided, Augustus, in your stealthy attempts.
Good lord.
Thank you, Tok. Wise advice.
And the head, top of the head just pops back into the bag, and it's again empty.
And with that, you head towards the secret lever encased in stone. Stealth checks, please, from Augustus, and you can be guided, and from Vander and from Benny, please.
That's an 11 for Vander.
It's 15 for Benny.
a natural 1 for 0, plus 4 for the guidance. So I'm only Tok telling me to shut up was the only thing that stopped me. Literally just banging the drums and letting off fireworks.
So Bennie carrying the bag of holding, moving quickly and quietly. Vander hobbling behind, his cane visibly hitting the floor but making no sound. And Augustus struts out from the Umberhulk tunnels, clanking and clashing, as a quick look back tells you that the orcs are looking on with some dismay at the amount of noise that you're currently making.
Maybe we should have sent Augustus with the orcs.
That's actually not the worst idea, but you should have done that.
Can I inspect the site more now I'm here?
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
So that's an 11.
It does appear to be a standard lever that has been installed to open a secret entrance.
I pull the lever.
Goodness. Someone opening a door or similar on their own.
I withdraw my hand as if burned. Bennie.
Quickly, servant, you do it.
A door needs opening.
With a single pull, the door appears from the rock face and slides open. The smell of rot and decay fill your nostrils, and all you can see in the darkness is the floor immediately going into a steep decline. It's about 45 degrees.
Gentlemen, as I have a way of slowing my descent, I elect myself to go first in this instance.
Well, if you're going to volunteer, then...
Vander then nods to the group and takes a tentative step forward. I'm going to take a kind of sliding position, as Vander's not going to be strong enough to handle the gradients. He's going to have to kind of slide down.
Give me an athletics or acrobatics check, please.
20, unbelievably.
Bracing yourself as you take one step forward, because of the steepness of the incline, you find yourself slipping on wet and moist stone. But you're able to keep your balance as you slide into the darkness and away from the others.
Well, that was weird. And have a look around for a rock that I could tie my rope to.
There is a rock nearby. It's a cliff face, so there's lots of jagged rocks that you could tie rope to.
I securely tie my rope to it and, taking one end of the rope, walk comfortably down the slope, taking the rope with me so that it's available for people who need to follow.
Bennie, you may give me a athletics or acrobatics check at advantage.
That's 13 for acrobatics.
You begin to descend into the darkness. Augustus, you are alone outside the Palace of Lies, having made a lot of noise to get here. Behind you, the orcs charge towards the main gate, giving you just enough time to make your way into the secret entrance.
Do I know if my other guys have safely reached the bottom?
All you've heard is Vander say, "Wahoo!" and disappear into darkness.
Bennie's rope is still tied at the top, right?
Correct.
So if I go down, we're leaving the rope behind. So Augustus unhooks the rope, places his feet on the top of the slide, slides down, and as he goes,
Oh, God.
I mean, had I made it to the bottom before he unhooked the rope?
Can I have a dexterity saving throw, please? Bennie and Augustus, can I have an athletics or acrobatics check, please?
You just released the rope while Bennie was using it as well.
But I figure I've made so much noise, I might as well just slide down.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
My God.
It's a 15 for my dexterity saving throw.
And Augustus gets 6 for athletics.
Bennie, as you're kind of carefully lowering yourself, but confidently, it's not the first time you've used rope to gain access to places that might be more difficult for others. All of a sudden, the rope goes limp and you find yourself toppling backwards. You're able to adjust as you're falling into a kind of roll position, and then you're almost surfing down the ramp in the same way that Vander already has. As you reach what you know to be the bottom, because there's a weird ethereal glow, you can see Vander just very calmly straightening himself up, placing his cane, obviously having arrived there perfectly. Behind you, there is a clattering sound which is filling the area. And just as you're about to brace yourself to jump off, Augustus barrels into you at high speed, knocking you both onto the ground, landing with a heavy thud. Augustus, please take 2 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, I'm frightfully sorry, Bennie. I thought you were rather in the way there.
What the hell was that? Kind of hissing furiously, but trying to be as quiet as possible.
That, my dear man, was the first son of Lothar.
Stiffly done. Why have you unhooked the rope?
Oh, we don't want anyone following us down, Benny, and it's a fine rope.
Who's following us down? It's a bloody empty tunnel. What if we need to get out this way?
We made rather a lot of noise on the way down, Benny.
Oh, did we?
Gentlemen, I found a rope.
Yeah.
Benny, please calm yourself. We shall walk grandly from this palace as victors and owners of these premises once we defeat its squatting incumbent.
Are you capable of walking, Augustus? Are you sure you don't want to stomp? Maybe you could attach some symbols to your feet while you're on your way as well to make sure absolutely everybody hears you wherever you go.
An interesting proposal, Benny.
Vander chuckles. That was good.
Well, the first stage has been successfully completed. Now, shall we canter in this direction?
Vander says, pointing at what I assume is the only way forward from here.
So ahead of you is a darkened tunnel. It is clear that it doesn't have the same kind of carved opulence that the main entrance had. It is a roughly hewn basement. And as I mentioned before, the smell of rot and decay. Ahead of you is a singular tunnel.
Benny sighs, infuriated that his very reasonable arguments are being completely ignored by his teammates, loops up the rope, shoves it into his backpack.
Presumably into Tok's space.
Yeah, and then opens the bag of holding to get Tick and Tok out.
Tok will climb out first, followed by Tick.
Now you come, lads. We've decided to not bother being stealthy, apparently. So why not? Open season.
Benny, are you sure that is wise? Stealth would appear to be the best approach.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but apparently that's not what we're doing.
I agree. I think we have now entered the realm of your expertise, Benny. I wondered if you might consider scouting out the passageways in front of us.
Oh, did you? Oh, right. Okay. Fine. Why not?
If Benny's scouting ahead, Tok might suggest he would just climb back into the bag. Benny can carry him along. And if he needs, the heavy squad to come out, Tok can just climb out the bag into combat.
So just to be clear, Benny is ahead of the rest of the group, carrying a bag of holding with Tok's head, presumably just stuck out of it looking around.
Yeah, and Tick in the rest of the bag. Yep.
360 view.
You perched on his shoulder kind of thing.
The world's weirdest parrot.
Yeah, so I use my divine sense to see if there are any undead, fiends, etc. within 60 feet.
Augustus, ahead of you is a tunnel with a sharp left turn, which Benny is currently slowly moving towards. You sense that around 30 feet ahead of his current position, there are 6 undead creatures.
Okay, Augustus quickly whispers that to Vander.
Benny, 6 undead ahead of you.
Can you describe again where I am? Is there only kind of one route through by the looks of it?
There is a singular tunnel which you are currently making your way down. It is around 30 feet long, and you are about 20 feet ahead of the rest of them. 10 feet ahead of you, there is a sharp left turn. You haven't yet reached the corner, so you can't see round it.
I would like to edge slowly up to the corner as quietly as I possibly can. And then I would like to take my mirror out of my backpack and have a look around the corner using that without kind of stepping out.
So with the mirror purchased in Sleethome, you crouch down with Tok's head on your shoulder and place the mirror around the corner. As you stare down, you can see stood atop a raised platform around 30 feet down the corridor is a zombie. The zombie appears to be gesticulating and groaning.
There's no other route that I can identify that doesn't take us.
There is not an obvious one. You can give me an investigation check if you'd like to spend some time looking for an alternative route.
I would like to do that. 23.
Thoroughly investigating the area while remaining hidden from the zombie who is currently gesticulating 30 feet to the south. You find that the wall directly ahead of you has some strange elements to it, that if you were able to find the right loose stone, you could push it and create a door. There is a small, slightly out of place stone in the bottom right-hand corner.
I'll give it a push.
You push it, and with a loud rumbling, the stone facade begins to move to the left, creating a new way forward directly ahead of you.
Let's look in my mirror and see if any of the zombies have noticed this.
The only zombie you can see does not appear to have noticed.
I guess I'll work my way very quietly back to my comrades and let them know the situation, that there is this new doorway. but there are zombies away to the south. And we're going to have to be sneakier than we have been if we want to make it through the door without anyone noticing.
Vander taps his silenced cane on the ground to indicate he's ready for sneaking.
Tok's hand will appear just like beside his head with the little tablet on it that will read, "There is no more room in the bag of holding for Augustus."
We're like the Addams family.
And then the hand with the tablet will just go back down into the...
You look at Augustus and he's got one hand flat on the wall. He's got his foot in his hand and he's stretching out his quad as though somehow not having loosened up was the problem with the last stealth.
The Bennie says, so what do you reckon? If we decide to go fighting route, we could maybe get a bit of a jump on him. If you reckon there's no chance of us sneaking past, but...
I suggest we try the stealthier route.
Can't hurt to try.
No, I mean, it can, but yeah, I think I probably agree.
Again, Tok's little tablet will come out and anybody looking will read, maybe tie baffles under Augustus's feet, like Vander's cane, and then the hand will just go back into the bag like a periscope. Thus, it'll be guidance for Augustus.
Just so you're aware, the corridor ahead is around 10 feet wide. Could attempt to leap from the unseen position that you are currently in into the unseen position ahead.
Let me try the athletic route.
Me and Vander sneak past first, and then
Okay.
you jump it. Bennie and Vander are going to go ahead, and then, assuming that's successful, Augustus is going to leap after us.
13 for Vander.
I've been taking some tips from the Augustus Zeno School of Stealthiness, and I've got an 8.
Let's have the athletics check, because it's all going to happen in quite quick succession.
So, long jump.
Ooh.
Natural 20 for 23. I sail over my noisy compatriots and land light as a feather.
Decided to go first, Vander, with the non-clip-clopping sound of his staff, is able to very quickly and effectively move almost through the shadows, getting through. Simultaneously, Bennie attempts to stealth as Augustus barges past him and long jumps into the darkness, quick as you like. Bennie, as you're halfway across the 10-foot wide corridor, the zombie that you saw previously looks at you and lets out a roar.
Oh dear.
With hindsight, should have taken his crampons off.
Behind your ear, Benny, you'll hear
Alarm.
Roll for initiative, please.
That's 6 for Augustus.
19 for Tok.
3 for Vander.
23 for Bennie. Where was that roll a minute ago?
Top of the round with Bennie.
I am going to take a couple of steps forward until the corridor narrows. And then I am going to scatter ball bearings in front of me all across this corridor, making it very difficult for anyone who wishes to pass.
My word, the ball bearings. What fun. Bennie pulls out the bag and scatters ball bearings all over the floor in a 10-foot square in front of him.
And then I'm going to dart backwards to a point where I've got a nice clear shot to any prone zombies.
Man in the bag, Tuck.
It's now a man out of the bag. So Tok and Tick will both, one after the other, climb out of the bag of holding. And then when it is sort of empty afterwards, grab it, put it in the backpack. With the remaining movement, they'll both move up in front of the party, just behind where the ball bearings are. Tok will ready some of the small pebbles they've been using as missiles. Yeah, so ready them, pass one a couple to Tick, and he will launch his own. Tick won't have time to be able to launch his though. It hits for a 17.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
Is 9 damage.
Ooh. So having clambered out of the bag, Tok and Tick take up a kind of vanguard position at the head of the party, stood behind the ball bearings laid by Bennie. They each take their magical pebbles, with only Tok throwing it, flicking it, and it just goes clean through the shoulder of the single zombie you can see at the end of the corridor. The zombie barely bats an eyelid, if it had eyelids, which it doesn't, and continues to groan.
Okay, Tok and Tick will draw their swords and shields and prepare to meet I would say charge, but like an amble.
Now the zombies.
Surely we have higher initiative than a zombie.
Well, you'd think so. The single zombie you can see shambles forward, hole in its shoulder from the magical pebble. Its foot touches the ball bearings it flips in a hilarious comedy fashion and lands on its back, kind of groaning and rolling around as it joins the -1 club on its dexterity saving throw.
Welcome, dear zombie.
A second zombie appears around the corner, shambling forward. It also steps onto the ball bearings, flips in a comedy fashion, and lands heavily on its back.
Wonderful.
The corridor suddenly fills with 6 zombies, but the 2 that have slipped and fallen have caused something of a backlog. Augustus.
Vander, old chap, do you see any value in stealth any longer?
I rather think stealth has been exhausted as an option for us.
Vander says, while taking his flintlock out from under his robes.
Wonderful. And Augustus draws Ember, mutters the word Ember, yells, "Turn off the air!" and bowls round the corner.
Oh no.
The sword erupts in flame.
Okay, so Augustus goes to here.
Dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh yeah, oh god. Dexterity, my old friend. Blackadder. Always. So 4.
Augustus has a chat with Vander, is happy that they're no longer stealthy, draws Ember, yells the word Ember and ignites. He then yells to Lothar, charges round the corner, past Doc and Tick, straight into the ball bearings, slips, and lands on his ass. Prone.
Just before he does, he hears Tok behind him say,
Augustus, alarm.
Vander, who has seen this all unfold, but has drawn his flintlock. Your turn.
Vander looks down at the fallen Augustus and then back up at the zombies. Rather than fire, I'm going to essentially take a holding action. If they approach Augustus, I'm going to let rip with the flintlock. So I just level it.
Augustus, maybe an idea to come back to cover.
I imagine I'm about to do a kind of slapstick comedy, tries to stand up on ball bearings scene.
You're going to do the wet bandits.
Back to the top of the round with Bennie.
Bennie surveys the situation and can't really work out a way to assist Augustus, so decides just to have a shot at a prone zombie. Seems like a useful thing to do, and I'm assuming I can use a sneak attack.
Yeah, you can. Go for it.
So that's a 17 to hit.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
So the total of 15.
Bennie, tell us a story.
Bennie takes aim at the prone zombie, his favourite kind of opponent, one who is in no position to fight back, and is able to take his time, line him up, and put one straight into the zombie's forehead, and he just sags down where he is already laying. So for my bonus action, I am going to use my mage hand, and the mage hand is going to endeavour to sweep away some of the ball bearings around Augustus to make it easier for him to stand up the next time he tries.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so Bennie knocks an arrow, fires it at the zombie, taking it down, and then with a wave of his hand, the magical mage hand, wipes away the ball bearings around Augustus. Augustus, can I have a constitution saving throw, please?
Yay. 14.
Bennie having killed the zombie, there is a sudden puff of ash that fills the air. Augustus, despite your prone position, you're able to kind of wave the ash so that none of it gets into your lungs. The zombie, which appears to have kind of let off this ash, then groans as it rises up, pulls itself up over Bennie's arrow, and stands ready to fight again. Tuck and Tick.
Since this one's getting back up, that's probably the one that Tok's going to go for rather than the one standing behind it now. Okay, so Tok will attack, and then Tick will drag Augustus back 5 feet, and attempt to lift him up, I guess.
Yeah, give me an athletics check for Tick and do an attack for Tok.
Tick rolls a 10, and Tok is back to his old self with his attacks, so he gets an 8 to hit the zombie, rolling a natural 1.
A natural 1. Tick is able to drag Augustus 5 feet back and away from the zombies as Tok flicks another pebble which harmlessly clatters down the corridor. The zombie who has risen up moves forward. Unfortunately, having risen up in dramatic fashion, he steps forward 5 feet and slips on the ball bearings once again, crashing to the ground.
You might be dealing with 6 unkillable enemies.
The second zombie rises up from the ground, steps forward. So the zombie is going to take an attack at Augustus at advantage.
As he goes to attack Augustus, Vander's going to let rip with the flintlock.
Boom! Do it!
Okay. Vander rolls a 5.
Which is a miss, unfortunately. Once again, Vander sees the zombie heading towards Augustus, pulls out the flintlock, and with a bang, which echoes around the corridor, portion of wall is blasted away, unfortunately, doing no damage. The zombie, cumbersome as it is, swings its arm at Augustus, who is prone, but misses itself. Behind it, the other zombies begin to move. This zombie fails its dexterity check and falls on its ass. Oh, but this one passes and is able to move forward to complete passing its friend, the kind of almost dead zombie, and moves to attack Tok with a 9.
Not even close.
No. So it limply just kind of smashes its forehand against Tok's shield. Augustus.
Yes, I'm going to stand up first. So that's just using some of my movement, which I obviously don't need. And then I'm just going to hit the guy with Ember.
Roll the attack.
That is 23.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
That's 9 piercing damage.
Very nice. So yeah, Augustus, having dragged himself to his feet after being dragged out of combat by Tick, pulls up Ember and slashes across the chest of the zombie that is moving slowly towards him. Vander looks at his flintlock, slightly irritated at the missed shot, and then giving it a little shake as if to check that it's still working, extends his other hand and gives one of the zombies a push. Using your ancient Rojan technique, mentally you prepare to push. The zombie managed to roll a 1 and a 0 on the 2 rolls it needed to do. So it is pushed back and immediately slips on the ball bearings, collapsing in a heap next to its friend. Augustus, if you would like to do a attack of opportunity, you are welcome to do so.
Absolutely, yes, please. So that is 11.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
9 fire damage.
As Vander pushes the zombie away, with a beautiful whipping technique, you manage to take the hand off of the zombie as it then steps back onto the ball bearings, slips into the air, and lands with a thud.
Jesus, they're tough then. He's taken 18 damage and he's still basically fine. He's handless, I guess.
That's the top of the round with Bennie.
Bennie shouts, What's going on? I put one of them down and he's back up. Anyone got any ideas?
I believe that is a trait of the undead.
I'm going to keep shooting at him until someone gives me a better idea in that case then.
Sounds like a plan, Bennie.
As Vander continues to reload his flintlock.
I will shoot at one that is standing up. 25.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
14.
Bennie, you knock an arrow and fire it directly into the zombie. The arrow pierces it in the shoulder and drags it, pinning it to the wall to the side. The zombie groans in pain, but it cannot move from its current spot.
Having seen that Augustus's fiery sword seemed to be having better effect, I managed to cut the hand off and it didn't seem to grow back. I'd like to see if I can treat some of my arrows by dipping them in, getting them maybe some strips of fabric and dipping them in oil and setting them, starting to create some Molotov-y arrows.
I'm going to say you can do it, but you would not be able to use them until the turn after next.
Right, I think I'll do that.
Tok and Tick are going to take a simple approach and attack the zombies apart with swords. So an 11 to hit.
Is a hit.
And 11 damage.
Tok, tell us a story.
I mean, I think Tok's just going to cut down straight to the top of its head, cleaving it in two. Just simple and efficient.
Augustus, DC 10 Constitution saving throw, please.
10.
So that's fine. Another kind of puff of ash appears and you just waft it away from you without taking any effects.
He's used to the peasants making horrible smells.
And the zombie, having collapsed to the floor, lets out a death rattle, but doesn't rise.
Ah, awesome. Okay. No, actually, Tick is going to fire one of the pebbles at the zombie ahead. So he rolls a natural 1, which still results in an 8. But does a natural 1 always miss?
Natural 1 in combat always misses, unfortunately.
So in Push gets a miss.
The pebble once again rattles away into the darkness.
And Tok will advance beside Augustus.
The zombies. So They all get up from their prone position. This one moves forward, and they're going to attack the people directly in front of them. So the one on the left attacks Tok for a 14.
The disadvantage, but that misses.
And the other one attacks Augustus for 5. So they both ineffectively just kind of pour at you, doing 0 damage, never really threatening to do any. Augustus.
Now, is it possible? So I've got a theory that this is the reanimate. This probably doesn't make sense, but the reanimation of the zombie that died. There's one zombie at the back that looks different. I'm going to assume he's the leader zombie, or at least the Union rep. And so I'm going to. Is there a way I could attempt to kill him? So I appreciate there's someone in the way, but is it possible for Augustus to NFL style hurdle the guy in front, somersault, and bring the sword down with both hands to cut the head off the guy behind?
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Mechanically, it's impossible. And yet, because of the potential to really hurt you...
Oh yeah, there's so many ways this could go wrong.
We are going to have a acrobatics check at disadvantage first.
Onto barbarics.
Augustus Zeno, paladin, running back.
Acrobatics is dexterity as well, which is not my strong suit, as we know.
At disadvantage as well, please.
Yeah, if Tok could give guidance for it, the guidance would be, don't do this.
But he can't, so shut up.
Exactly.
That is a 7. It's actually better than I was expecting.
Augustus, you attempt to magnificently leap over the first zombie, having in your mind identified the leader zombie, whatever that means. You attempt to basically spring jump over him. You completely mistime it, and you land with your legs around the head, perched on the shoulders of the zombie in front of you. The zombie kind of sways slightly and then forcefully drills you in a powerbomb onto the floor, knocking you prone and doing 6 bludgeoning damage to you.
6 bludgeoning. That's good. That's fine.
And you are knocked prone once again. And that is the end of your turn, very obviously.
I think that went well.
Vander, you've just seen some pretty impressive professional wrestling.
Yeah, Vander's obviously in that moment. Clearly Augustus is prone. So Vander's going to take a step forward and say,
an opening.
He's going to level the flintlock and blaze away.
At advantage, please.
An 18.
Is a hit.
Yes.
Please roll for damage.
And that's 12 damage.
With a boom, the flintlock goes off and takes a huge chunk out of the shoulder and the side of the face of the zombie who just powerbombed Augustus. It groans as it staggers back under the force of the attack, but it is still standing.
Vander begins to reload.
Bennie, you're up.
Well, Bennie is still fiddling with his arrows, desperately trying to tear off strips of material from his cloak, wrap them around the arrows, and douse them in oil, and using his tinderbox to try and get them lit.
Okay, Tok is going to, again, efficiently cut to the head of the zombie in front of him. That is a 15 to hit.
It's a hit.
11 slashing damage.
Tell us the story.
Again, in a simple downwards cutting motion, he tries to basically split the head of the zombie in front of him.
You swing your sword of Tok down at high speed, slicing the zombie's head in half from top to throat. The zombie collapses to the floor with a thud and does not get back up.
Tick behind. So Augustus in front of him is prone at the moment. Tick will use this opportunity to launch another pebble at the zombie in front. 16 to hit.
It's a hit. Please roll for damage.
Gets a 9 damage bludgeoning.
Tick flicks another pebble which goes through the eye socket of the zombie, who's already got half of his face missing. He groans and sways, looking incredibly unwell at the moment. Zombie time. The zombie moves forward. Oh, and passes its dexterity saving throw. Ha-ha! Suck it.
I knew it.
He's so overjoyed, he's going to swing at top with a natural 20!
God damn it.
Get some!
You were saying something about how the DM's not against you.
Yeah. He's on our side.
He's the David Attenborough of this D&D.
Please take 4 slashing damage.
whilst it doesn't damage Tok himself, it does take some of the shine off Augustus's earlier speech.
Damn, that speech. The zombie who powerbombed Augustus before having its shoulder, half of its face and its eyeball blown up and pebbled is going to attempt to attack the prone Augustus.
And yet, Tick, with his shield, will move to protect Augustus on the floor in front of him, imposing disadvantage on the attack.
For a grand total of 18?
AC's 19, I think.
Awesome.
So with Tick's protection, the zombie is attempting to bash down in a mounted position, but Augustus is having none of it. This zombie is going to move up. And he slips and falls in the ball bearings. Phenomenal work, zombies. You are the best. Augustus.
Now, is the guy behind the guy I'm fighting, is he standing up or is he fallen over?
He is stood.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. The guy in front of me is really wounded. So if I jump up like a ninja, kick Tick in the chest to propel myself forward, and then stick the sword out like a lance, I can stick it through the zombie in front of me and also skewer the guy behind.
Oh my god.
I'm determined to get an epic zombie kill here. I'm going for a twofer.
It's somehow more preposterous and more mechanically wrong than anything else you've done, which is saying something as the most
I am a strict adherent to the rules of this game.
wild card is what you are. Right, we're going to have an athletics check from you, a constitution saving throw from Tick, and then if both of those succeed, then we're going to have an attack roll, and we'll take it from there.
Right, so 12 for athletics is the start.
That's a great start.
That is great for my athletic skills. Oh no, hang on, sorry, athletics, not acrobatics. 15 for athletics.
Tick gets a 14 for his constitution.
Oh, now we roll in.
Okay, and can I have an attack roll, please, Augustus?
Oh my god.
22.
Can I have a second attack at disadvantage, please?
Come on. 11.
And can you roll for damage, please?
10 fire damage.
Augustus,
Pierce thy heart, foul creature.
tell us the story of how you killed the first zombie before moving on to damage the second.
I smashed the sword into his chest, and his poorly assembled, decomposing body falls into its constituent bits, the bones going one way, the flesh going another. It's an absolute fucking mess. And then, like a dart into a dartboard, it digs through that and into the next guy.
Where it buries itself in his chest. Tick, unfortunately, does not survive the encounter with a jumping Augustus and is pushed back 5 feet and must take 1 damage, please.
Which also will come off the speech that was given earlier.
So Augustus thinks, sorry Tick, / you're welcome.
Obviously the end of your turn. I'm not going to let you do anything else. Vander.
I wink at this zombie.
You do not. It's not your turn. Vander.
You can see that I'm about to wink.
Peanut gallery.
I can't resist continuing this. Vander focuses his efforts on Augustus's new assailant and goes for a mage hand push to try and throw him out of combat so he can finish what he started.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's a natural 1 for -1 again.
Why did the zombies elect this guy leader?
I don't think he's the leader.
He's 100% the leader.
We're going to find out.
He's their democratically elected leader.
The zombie wearing the wooden crown is pushed suddenly by Vander using his mystical Rojan powers. Augustus, would you like to take an attack of opportunity?
Oh my. Wouldn't mind. 20
is a hit. Please roll for damage.
Wouldn't it be good if Augustus said, nah, not bothered. Not very honourable. Attack of opportunity.
And that will be 6 fire damage to my mighty king zombie foe.
Nice. You slash down, taking 2 fingers off of his hand as you do so, in a classic dueling wound, also I'm told.
This time I definitely wink at him.
And you wink at him. Bennie.
Bennie is absolutely baffled that the team seem to have returned to their nonsensical ways of our early battles. But nonetheless, Bennie has now completed his task of creating some arrows that can be set alight. Therefore, he sets up an arrow, gets the tinderbox, sets it alight, and aims at this chap who is currently engaged with he's engaged with a couple of people, isn't he?
Roll at advantage.
20.
Is a hit. Roll for damage.
That is 11 fire damage.
Tell us a story.
Bennie sets the arrow alight, cocks his bow, fires it off quickly before he sets his fingers on fire, and it flies straight and true and into the zombie's chest, where it catches flame, and he drops to the ground.
And as he hits the ground, his body explodes into ash.
I shout, "Looks like fireworks!"
Duck.
Tok will reply to Bennie with,
A cloud of ash is a poor firework.
That's your bonus move. What else you got?
Tick will advance up to behind Augustus, and both of them will launch their the magic pebbles, magic stone at the zombie nearest. Not the zombie king leader, just one of the normal zombies. Tok gets a 19, and Tick gets a 22.
Both hits. Roll for damage.
Tok gets a 7, and Tick gets an 11.
With the two almost identical automatons stepping forward, they begin flicking their pebbles as chunks of the zombie fall away with every hit. It looks like it wavers slightly, but is just standing. The zombie king, as you've dubbed him,
My opposite number. Yeah, it's nice to meet a worthy opponent.
steps forward, and the sound of crunching as it steps onto the ball bearings but does not fall over. He lunges to bite Augustus.
And Tick is going to attempt to protect Augustus again.
And that's a natural 1.
Aha!
He kind of lunges forward, and as he goes to bite, Tick's hand just reaches over Augustus's shoulder, puts it directly onto the face of the zombie king, and pushes him away.
Denied.
The other zombie is going to attack Augustus for 18. It's not enough, is it? It's 19. The other zombie tries to attack from the side, but gets nowhere through the thick armor, the thick splint armor of Augustus. Augustus, your retort.
Augustus looks at his worthy foe, the zombie king, and in reference to the attempted bite says, "Sir," and then attempts to hit him with Ember.
Roll to hit.
23.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
5 fire damage.
Augustus, tell us a story.
Oh yeah. Augustus whips his flaming rapier around and neatly slices the crown off the zombie king's head, obviously taking the portion of the head that was in the crown off too. The crown lands at Augustus's feet, and the zombie king tips over backwards and explodes into a yogurty mush.
He does. Constitution saving throw, please, Augustus.
Oh, fuck off. That is 18.
It's fine. So there's a puff of ash, and you just once again wat it away like it's nothing. And at his feet is the wooden crown of the zombie king. Although I never said zombie king, he called it zombie king.
Well, you've said it several times now. Augustus is in your head.
Vander.
Vander steps forward, and from the zombie's perspective, I think he'd be looking at a shield wall of Tok and Tick. Between those two shields, suddenly the muzzle of a flintlock is visible, and Vander pulls the trigger. 20.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
How comes the short appendage of Vander?
8.
Vander, tell us a story.
As the zombie advances on Tick and Tok, it sees the flintlock appear between their two shields. A blinding flash of light, and the zombie is torn apart with a hail of shrapnel, scattering its bones and effluence against the wall by which it stands.
And we are out of combat.
Woohoo!
Right. Augustus looks sadly at the crown and thinks that the zombies are really onto something with their constitutional monarchy, and it's a shame it had to come to this.
I thought you'd been staring with barely contained lust at a crown.
What, you think Augustus wants to be the zombie king?
We've seen you want before.
Well, that went well, I thought. I thought that was very smooth ride.
I thought it was going to go a lot worse when the first guy died and got back up.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's
well,
true.
what is going to happen here? We're just going to get slowly whittled down by unkillable enemies.
I was going to say, Lothar's set his whole castle up to look like a kind of Home Alone-esque, filled with traps and stuff, but then watched us get in and self-sabotage and just thought, I've wasted a lot of time here.
I did fall over his micro machines, except they were put down by our own team.
Say, we already had to kill a zombie king, for God's sake,
I hope this isn't the meeting of all the zombie kingdoms, because there could be more zombie kings in here.
The warriors, but the zombies. All the zombie gangs have gone to a single location to see if they can become an army of zombies.
I was going to say, we've accidentally invaded the convention of the zombie kings.
Well, Augustus will have many crowns by the end of today then, you bastards.
Been powerbombed a few times as well.
By the way, Augustus is picking up that crown and adding it to his box of inventories. Fucking hell.
Box of inventories? What does that even mean?
I was going to say, what, your box of crowns?
Confused halfway through that sentence and then ended up with, I tried to say adding it. Oh, fucking hell. Nope.
We met these zombies in a toilet and one of them was wearing a hat. And now you've beaten the zombie king.
Why is that guy wearing zombie pants on his head?
He must be some kind of zombie king.
He was described as a crown. He's the zombie king. Why would he be wearing a crown if he wasn't the zombie king?
I only added the crown after you declared him the zombie king.
Well, thank you.
It was always just pants.
Why? He said it was like a wooden circlet thing, so it could have been a toilet seat.
Songs will be sung out, don't worry.
Well, he's not king of this corridor anymore, is he? Because I cut his head off.
No, you deprived him of his toilet seat. It's the real...
Yeah, no, you're ruining this for me.
With puffs of ash floating through the dark tunnel ahead, you prepare yourselves to push on, safe in the knowledge that you at least successfully won one combat in the Hall of the Zombie King. And we'll end it there.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Bennie Quez, Alex Morrison as Augustus Zeno, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, and Harry King as Talk, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support. Marshall 001, Marky B, Darcy Thompson, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sakura, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, SJ Phionics, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Vander, Paris Pakar, Path Pursuit, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Mama Strange, Queenie, Liz Beckett, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
I really liked as well that Vander took a fairly risky route down there, and then Benny did something imminently sensible, and then was sabotaged. So good.
Look, you don't kill zombie kings by being sensible.
You killed an undead guy wearing a toilet seat.
Look, have any of you killed a zombie king? That's my question.
I would argue that none of us have killed a zombie king.
Well, if you had a multiple choice and said which member of the Dice Company quartet has killed a zombie king, which one are you going to tick? You have to gun to your head, flintlock to your head. Which one are you going to tick?
I'm not that concerned if it's Vander holding the flintlock to my head, to be honest.
We're going to go for E, none of the above.
Bullshit.
Anyway, the main thing is Lenny's back.
Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our Linktree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.